All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are taking a close look at a brand new watch from a company that just lives and breathes aviation, the Bremont Altitude MB Meteor. Bremont had a real challenge on their hands here. How do you take a modern legend and actually make it better?
I mean, that's the ultimate question, isn't it? When you've got a watch that's already so well loved, that's basically a classic in its own right, what do you do next? How do you move forward without accidentally erasing what made it so special to begin with?
And Bremont's answer is pretty clear. This isn't about tearing everything down and starting over. Nope, it's all about refinement. They focused on making real, tangible upgrades to the materials and how it feels on the wrist, while making absolutely sure that the soul of the original is still right there, front and center.
So yeah, we're looking at an icon reborn. And this is way more than just a new color or a tiny tweak. This is the official next generation of what is arguably Bremont's most famous pilot's watch, a piece that has really defined the brand for more than 10 years.
This quote, this gets right to the heart of where this watch comes from. And that's not just some marketing slogan. It's the absolute core of its identity. The MB in the name, that stands for Martin Baker. And this promise of survival is the ultimate proof of its professional-grade credibility.
You know, this new model comes at a really interesting time for Bremont. They've got new leadership, a new CEO in Davide Serrato, and the whole brand is getting a major refresh. The 2025 Altitude collection, it's their big statement. It's them planting a flag and saying, we are all in on what we do best, building incredible aviation watches.
To really get this watch, we have to talk about its legacy. See, the whole partnership with Martin Baker isn't just some logo-slapping deal. It is the fundamental DNA of the MB series, and it all starts with the company that gives the watch its name.
Yeah, this partnership is everything. Martin Baker is the world leader in designing and building ejection seats. We're talking life-saving equipment. Bremont worked directly with them to engineer a watch that could literally survive the insane G-forces and vibrations of a live ejection test. Think about that for a sec. This quick timeline really puts it all into perspective. Bremont gets founded back in 2002. Then around 2009, they launched the original MBI, and it just explodes, becoming their signature piece. So now, after more than 15 years of building on that heritage, the 2025 model is here to mark the next big chapter.
And this is a perfect example of how a design choice can honor that history. You see that colored barrel on the side of the case? That's a hallmark of the MB series. For this new Meteor, Bremont brought back that bold orange, which is a direct shout out to the very first MB2 that kicked this whole thing off.
Okay, let's get into the hardware, what we can really think of as the watch's chassis, because this is where we find one of the biggest and most important updates, a totally refined case. The key specs here really tell the story. We're talking a 42mm case, but now it's made from grade 2 titanium. That makes it way lighter than the old steel models. And that side barrel, that key visual pop, it's now a super tough Cerakote-coated ceramic, which is going to be much more resistant to scratches. But I want to zero in on this number for a second, 12.23 millimeters. That's the new thickness. For a watch that is this tough, with this much tech packed inside, that is impressively slim. That slimness, plus the titanium, plus the new, more curved lines, it all means this thing is designed to be way more comfortable on the wrist, day in and day out. All right, so from the case, let's move to the face of the watch, the dial. For any pilot's watch, legibility is everything. You have to have clarity in the cockpit, right? And the MB Meteor's dial is designed for exactly that.
So let's break down the anatomy of this dial, because it's all about function. First, you get a choice of a silver or black base. The numerals are actually applied. They're not just printed on, and they use that classic military stencil style, so you can read them in a split second. They're also outlined and filled with superluminova, so it's going to glow like a torch in the dark. And of course, you got that signature seconds hand with a little yellow and black striped loop that looks just like an ejection seat pull handle. It's so cool.
And what about that second crown at 2 o'clock? Well, that controls the internal rotating bezel. It's a bidirectional roto-click system, which means it has this really satisfying, super precise action when you turn it. It allows you to time events up to 60 minutes with total confidence.
Of course, a watch this tough on the outside needs a seriously reliable engine on the inside. So let's look under the hood and see what's powering this thing.
The movement in here is the caliber BB14AH. Now, this is a Bremont specified caliber. What that means is they've taken a fantastic, super reliable base movement, the Swiss-made La Joux-Perret G100, and they've had it adapted specifically for their needs in this watch. And the performance specs are absolutely top-notch. You get a really healthy 68-hour power reserve. We're talking nearly 3 full days. It beats at a modern 28,800 vibrations per hour, which gives you that nice smooth sweep of the seconds hand, and yep, it is proudly Swiss-made. But here is where the engineering gets really clever. The movement isn't just dropped into the case. It's actively protected from the real world. There's a special rubberized mount to absorb shocks, and a soft iron inner ring that creates a Faraday cage to shield it from magnetism. This isn't just a watch, it's a fortress built around its engine. So, after breaking it all down, the history, the case, the dial, the engine, what is the final verdict? What's the big takeaway on the new Bremont Altitude MB Meteor?
Okay, first the practical stuff. You can get it on a full Grade 2 titanium bracelet, and that'll run you 5,950 euros. Or, for 5,500 euros, you have a choice of a black rubber strap, a textured leather strap, or a really high-quality NATO strap made by the French company Julian.
My key takeaway is this. The Altitude MB Meteor is a huge success precisely because it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. It takes a proven, legendary design and just makes it better in ways you can actually feel. It's lighter, it's slimmer, it's more refined, it's more comfortable, and it's still completely true to its Martin Baker Aviation soul.
And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. In a world full of smartwatches and gadgets, Bremont has doubled down on perfecting the classic mechanical tool watch. So by refining this legend so successfully, do they just update a classic? Or have they actually set a whole new standard for what a modern pilot's watch should be? I think that's a question the watch world is going to be debating for a while. Thanks for joining us.